since then. NASA aims to send astronauts back to the moon in 2025. And no, the moon will not have daylight saving time. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Stock's just a bit higher this morning on Wall Street. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.
It's time for WPTV's First Alert Weather from the WPTV News Channel 5 newsroom. Now with 7 meteorologists covering the Treasure and Gold Coasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now here's WPTV's First Alert meteorologist.
Get ready for the heat this Wednesday. Near record or record-breaking highs expected this afternoon to high near 90 degrees by this afternoon with a very warm and gusty southwest wind. That wind could gust up to 40 miles per hour, sustain around 25 to 35 miles per hour. So yeah, windy, hot Wednesday. Then we get a cold front coming in later tonight. That could bring us a few showers and even some storms. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist Jennifer Correa for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Good morning and welcome back. We have a couple great shows on tap. Before we get into them, I want to remind everybody that Michael Circus for Martin County Commission District 5 wants to remind all residents that the greatest power you have as a resident is to be involved in your local politics. Vote on August 20th for your next county commissioner. Michael Circus, focused on the future, educated on the past. Paid for by Michael Circus Campaign for County Commission District 5. The first half of the hour, I'm very excited. We're going to have Debra Kohuth, and she became the college's, Indian River State College, that is, as you can see the pennant behind me if you're on Facebook. She became the first Dean of Charter Schools and subsequently the Dean of School of Education. In this role, Debra provides service to the 2 charter high schools, Clark Advanced Learning Center and Indiantown High School, plus also to teacher development, learning assistance, student success, as well as early childhood education and our Child Development Center. At the time of her appointment, IRSC President Dr. Tim Morris stated, "We have opportunities every day to change lives in this college and in communities we serve." Debra has done an outstanding job as an executive director of our Clark Advanced Learning Center. As Dean of Charter Schools, she will help IRSC further its mission, shaping and molding even more young minds and laying educational foundations upon which our citizens can build bright and successful futures. Prior, Kohuth served 8 years as Executive Director and Principal of IRSC's Clark Advanced Learning Center, a Grade A public charter high school in Stewart, organized in partnership with the Martin County School District. Since 2004, Clark has served 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students with enhanced secondary education, career training, and college dual enrollment opportunities. Originally from the Pocono Mountain region of Pennsylvania, Kohuth attended Villanova University and East Stroudsburg University, earning a Bachelor of Science in Biology with secondary education certificate. She earned master's degrees in both mathematics and educational leadership from the University of Scranton. Before joining Clark, she taught at the middle and high school levels for 15 years. Kohuth is a member of the Rotary Club of Stewart Sunrise and Columbiates of St. Bernadette Church. She's a graduate of Leadership Martin County and was part of the 2016 Commissioners Leadership Academy, sponsored by the Florida Department of Education and the Center of Educational Leadership. Wow, that's a lot, Debra. So welcome to the show. I'm excited to catch up with you today.
Thank you, Casey. I'm so glad to be here.
I am as well. So let's talk first about the 2 charter schools and the relationship they have, thank goodness, for Indian River State College. And let's start first with the newest, which is the Indiantown High School. Tell us a little bit about that and how many students and what the environment is there.
Absolutely. So right now with Indiantown High School, we're in our 2nd year, and we have students from grades 9 through 11. We'll have our first group of seniors next year as our students move into their senior year. We currently have just shy of 75 students, and we've had enrollment that will grow into next school year. We really will be looking forward to increasing our enrollment to 400 within the next 2 years. So
Wow.
Please keep in mind that applications are still open for Indiantown High School.
So do you accept students from out of the county as well as in the county?
We do, because in the state of Florida, if there are vacant seats at any of the public schools, those seats can be filled by students throughout Florida. So we actually do currently have a few students from outside of Martin County, and we continue to take those applications.
What does Indiantown High School, the charter school, focus on?
We actually have a couple of focuses as we continue to offer dual enrollment to students who are ready for that. And we have different programs. This year in particular, we started welding and we started healthcare. And we also have a small agricultural program going on. And that is definitely in partnership with the college, so that we actually have one of our current professors of agriculture coming out to Indiantown High School for those students.
So many times I've had so many guests here on the show over the years, and we've talked about how the trades have just been, we got away from it. There was a time about 20 years ago, it was focused, everybody needed to go to college and get a 4-year degree, and we've gotten away from that, realizing that was a really big mistake. The trades pay very well. We need people in those areas, so it's wonderful to have that opportunity for our students here in Martin County out there. And I think you're right across from I think it's Indiantown Marine Center, and there might be opportunities down the road for marine mechanics and that type of thing.
Absolutely. We continue to talk with the community to see what the needs are, and based on those needs and based on what our students are coming in and saying that they're interested in is how we'll continue to make Indiantown High School grow into what is needed to fill the trades and also create opportunities for students who are advancing their academic careers, so that they're ready to either matriculate with us at the college for our 4-year programs, also to do workforce education at the college, and or to move on beyond the college.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about that dual enrollment. I have a high school student myself, and I did not understand it as a parent. Does it cost me anything? Do I have to provide anything? Do I have to buy books? What exactly does dual enrollment mean for parents that are sending their children to the charter schools?
Sure. So dual enrollment is an opportunity for students to earn their high school credit at the same time that they're earning the college credit. And it's no cost to the parents, no cost to the families, cost to the taxpayers. But what we know is that if we can create those opportunities right in high school, then more students will have that foundation that they need to go on with their college studies. So there's no charge for textbooks. The school, so for instance, Clark Advanced Learning Center or Indiantown High School, we cover the cost of not only the credit that's being earned, but also the textbooks and resources.
What are the class sizes typically?
Well, class sizes can still, for core classes, be upwards to 25 students per class, but the real focus and what we know as being a selling point for both of our schools is the small school environment. So while the class size might still be what we would find in a comprehensive high school, what's going to be different is we have 250 students, maybe up to 400 students, and that is so small compared to our other high schools. And as myself and our principals like to kind of kid our students about is we know them, we know what they drive, we know when they're coming and going from our school. They really can't get lost in our schools.
That's fantastic. I want to talk a little bit more about the charter schools, but before I do, I want to remind everybody that Michael Circus for Martin County Commission District 5 wants to remind all residents that the greatest power you have as a resident is to be involved in your local politics. Vote on August 20th for your next county commissioner. Michael Circus, focused on the future, educated on the past, paid for by Michael Circus, campaign for County Commission District 5. Also, last week, Debra, at the end of my show, the doorbell rang here in the studio, and my guest was here. We're all like, who's at the door? It was Primo Hoagies, right here in Stewart, 3955 Southeast Federal Highway, and oh my goodness, they were so good. I just have to give a shout out and say thank you for those Primo Hoagies. They were prime delicious, so I have to shout that out. Before we get back to the charter school conversation, I wanted to ask you a little bit about what is Birth to Bachelors?
So Birth to Bachelors really gives an indication of what we offer with our School of Education with Indian River State College. So birth from the standpoint that we have a child development center, and we have essentially daycare on steroids in order to assist with child care throughout the Fort Pierce area. As far as the location of our center on our Massey campus. But what it allows for is also a lab school environment. So our early childhood education students who are taking coursework either for their credentials to work at other child care centers or daycare centers, and also to go beyond that and perhaps teach voluntary pre-kindergarten, those students have the opportunity to come into our Child Development Center and see our teachers in action.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
The service to the community through having the daycare center, the Child Development Center, more accurately, but also the lab environment for those observations, those field experiences.
You know, all of us have grown up and many of us have went through the college system. I'm super, super impressed with what Indian River State College has done in this community, not only trying to reach out. Do you still have the Promise program?
We do have the Promise program, absolutely. We'll be headed into our third year of that going into 24-25.
I mean, you're really partnering with the community, seeing what the community needs, focusing your classes and your curriculums around that, as well as other curriculums that students can be, can take and be exposed to. But it's very impressive. And here now you have, Birth to Bachelor's program. That's very unique, I believe.
So we also, for Birth to Bachelor's, that encompasses our teacher development. So anyone in the area or even outside of the area, we have affiliation agreements with close to 30 districts, 30 county districts throughout the state of Florida, and students can come to us in person or online and take their classes to be an elementary education teacher, to be an exceptional student education teacher, which actually goes from K through 12.
Okay.
Or currently we have bachelor's programs in biology, where then they can also study and take coursework to be science teachers. And we have a middle grades math program. So we know that math and science, my first loves, are areas of need throughout the state of Florida, and especially here on the Treasure Coast. We want to make sure that we can go ahead and fill the seats at our traditional and private schools with the most well-qualified teachers.
We truly do need more teachers, so that is fantastic. You're focused on that. RJ, I appreciate you tuning in. He said, ask you about workforce training, quote, includes illegal aliens participation. He's asking if that is, if it does include that, and if citizenship is a prerequisite.
I have to say that adult education is the division that oversees all of that. So while I cannot answer that question succinctly, I would encourage anyone who's interested in adult education to please reach out to the college for that aspect.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit more again about the charter schools. And before, actually, let me jump back 1 second. I mentioned the Promise program. When you're in high school, you can dual enroll and take college courses for free, and most of them, if not all of them, transfer depending on the university, if I'm correct.
You are correct.
What is the Promise program?
So the Promise program is a way for there to be tuition-free attendance. So any of our graduates within the 4 counties of the Treasure Coast, if they're coming from a public high school or if they're coming from homeschooling, would have the opportunity to pledge the Promise. Okay. And that needs to be in by May 24th of 2024 in order for them to be part of the entering class for Promise of 2024 into 2025. And we're very excited because the beginning of May, when we have commencement this year, we will have our first graduates, over 140 graduates from our Promise program. So
that's the first one?
That's the first,
fantastic.
The first group of graduating students under the Promise program. And because of the foundation of Indian River State College, who has vowed to cover the costs of the tuition, these students have been able to go to college, perhaps something that was not originally part of their vision of what they could do.
It's the greatest gift of all to somebody that wants the education and can't afford it.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic, and with an education, the opportunities are endless. So what an amazing program. Let's talk a little bit more. Again, we'll go back to Clark. What does Clark Advanced Learning focus on?
So Clark was opened initially workforce development, because the community saw that there was a need for workforce development. And oftentimes we'll hear that, well, we wavered from that because the whole state of Florida wavered from that.
Right.
Clark has been in existence for 20 years. We're actually headed into our 21st year next year. And with that, we have had quite a focus on dual enrollment. When the state of Florida allowed dual enrollment to take place for students beyond 11th and 12th grade, that allowed us to increase our enrollment and increase the fact of the grades that could be taken into Clark Advanced Learning Center. So we currently have 10th, 11th, and 12th, and we're looking to grow our enrollment there as well, because we recognize we still want to stay a small environment, but we know that this opportunity could be availed to other students throughout Martin County.
So I also saw online on your Facebook page there that you are still taking applications, even if it's for the wait list, because those things do open up.
Absolutely. So the wait list right now is a pretty short wait list. So we would encourage students, families in Martin County especially, to apply to Clark Advanced Learning Center. But just like I said before with Indiantown High School, because of the potential vacant seats at either of those schools, we would look beyond our Martin County boundaries.
Deborah, is there any a talk that maybe in the future you'll open it up also to ninth graders?
We are in discussion about that, yes. We actually are coming to the point where we will be renewing our application. And with that, we are contemplating ninth grade because, again, we want to have a seamless transition for our students and for them to have the opportunity for the advanced part of Clark Advanced Learning Center to take college classes as soon as they might be ready for them.
And you know, a freshman in high school, that's a natural transition. You're already transferring out of middle school. So that's very interesting. Let's talk a little bit for parents that are interested in either one of these schools. Lunches, are they served?
We do. We work in partnership with Martin County School District. At Clark Advanced Learning Center, we actually send our Clark-based team to an adjacent middle school to pick up the lunches and bring them in. We do find that high schoolers don't necessarily partake of lunches very frequently, but at least there's that opportunity. And at Indiantown High School, we're very pleased because of the high number of students taking the lunches and being part of free and reduced lunch program that Martin County School District does send a Martin County School District employee for breakfast and for lunch so that our students have the meals right there at our location on Citrus Boulevard.
That's fantastic. What about transportation?
Transportation, we also work along with Martin County School District, and we currently have morning runs that drop our students off at both of those schools, and also afternoon runs when they're needed to bring them home or to their zoned high school to then get them back to their houses.
Okay. What about school activities like clubs?
Oh, we have so
Social
many
events.
clubs. It's even hard to think of all that we do offer. In fact, at Clark, which has been in existence for 20 years, we have students come to us and say, oh, we'd really like to offer this club. And Dungeons and Dragons, something that I grew up with in the 80s, just came
Isn't that
back, and
something?
the students asked for that. We had a couple of advisors, some of our staff members, who said, absolutely, we'll go ahead and we'll sponsor that. So we have a Dungeons and Dragons club. We also have a faith-based club. We have a Rotary-infused club. We have, at any given time, a performing arts club. We have National Honor Society. We have an art club. I mean, I could go on, and I almost didn't want to start naming them because I know I have forgotten many.
Somebody will say, but you forgot.
Exactly.
But there are a lot of clubs.
So many. And then at Indiantown High School, we already are in partnership with a Rotary Club for an Interact Club.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
that those service-oriented activities are being held. And they already have a student government so that we have students. We've, again, just shy of 2 years in existence, and we have a student government. And it's from the standpoint of working along with the principal and the teachers in order to determine what do they want their school to be.
So they're getting a lot of the school environment, school life that they would normally have at one of the other high schools.
Absolutely. In the fall, they had a school dance out at
I was going to ask
Indiantown
about
High
dances
School.
and proms. Are those kinds of things still available at the charter schools?
Absolutely. Activities, and the students are fantastic about offering up ideas, and then Principal Davenport, along with her team, are determining what's feasible now, and what might we need to wait until we have a few more students.
What about sports?
Sports. So every single one of our students at both charter high schools is able to play sports for their zoned high school. That's part of charter rule within the state of Florida. So at any given time, we could have students on every single team at every single one of our high schools. And I know my experience when I was the principal at Clark, there were times when the lead person, the head person at any of those sports on those teams would be a Clark student. And I would imagine that we'll see a lot of that coming from Indiantown High School as well.
It's a great deal of pride there, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I think the tentacles kind of go all over. So those are very interesting and important aspects. I know as parents are looking for education, there's just so many opportunities here. And what Indian River State College has opened up for high school students here, for folks on the Treasure Coast, is very appreciative, and it's tremendous. And I just have to say hats off to Indian River State College again for being such a solid partner with the community. What else could you give just parents, just general advice on either one of these charter schools? So how do kids apply, and how are they chosen?
So both of the websites, so clarkadvancedlearningcenter.edu, and from just doing a quick search for Indiantown High School with IRSC, the websites will pop up, and the applications are very much a focused part of the website. And one of the things that we do ask for is a 300-word essay, because we want to know, as students are coming in, what is it that they've already seen about the school or heard about the school, or what is it about them in particular that says, hey, this could be a match for me. And we really use those essays in order to learn more about our students, even at the onset.
It's a very important, and I think that's one thing too that, as we spoke before you came into the studio, it's kind of a strength of your charter schools. It's the small numbers, and that teachers can really be focused on the student. They don't get lost in the shuffle.
Absolutely. Small school environment is huge. And while other aspects such as dual enrollment and one-to-one computers have been something that in the past was something to be showcased at our schools, that's not the case any longer. Our very large, comprehensive high schools offer that too. So what can we offer? We can offer a small school environment.
And the charter school out in Indiantown, as you said, it's 2 years old. It's a very new facility. It's fantastic. Very high tech. It looks high tech. Give us more examples of, we talked about some of the course curriculum. I'm sure there's more out there that maybe we didn't cover.
Currently, we actually have computer science classes. We have entrepreneurial classes.
Oh, wow.
So our students many of them have already gained credentials to be entrepreneurs. We have a social media class going on right now that our students will also be sitting for the test to be certified with social media.
Oh, perfect.
And so it really, again, is based on what are students asking for, what are the current trends, what are the current needs in the community, and that's what our principals are looking at year after year. They also survey students, not only the incoming students, but our current students, to find out what are some courses that you might want to take, whether they're elective courses.
YouTubing.
That's exactly.
I want to be a YouTuber. So it's something that's way out there, but I guess they can make some decent money on that.
And digital design is huge.
Digital design's huge. There we go. That is all just fantastic. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is the internship opportunities.
Yes, love internship. Very much a program that originated at Clark and has continued to thrive. We are thrilled to have well over 100 business partners at any given time. And all of our seniors, so currently at Clark and in the future at Indiantown High School, have the opportunity to work 60 hours out in a business, learning more about what goes on. And we hope that they've chosen something that's aligned to what they might want to do in the future. But truly, one of the greatest learnings is even if they get out there for those 60 hours and they realize, oh, I didn't know that lawyers also had to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
How great. They've invested 60 hours and realized that's not the path that they're going to choose. So we are absolutely thrilled with our career coordinator and all of the networking that's able to be done so that those business partners not only benefit from our students being with them, but greatly benefit our students because they give them those fantastic opportunities.
Well, we just spent the last half hour with Debra Kohuth with Indian River State College. That internship program, I think, is so important just for what you said. There's so many times that a student, you're young, that career sounds amazing, but then when you actually do it, either you really do love it or you find out, oh, this is not for me. So what an opportunity that you're giving our young people here on the Treasure Coast. And I appreciate you coming in today to share all the wonderful things that are happening with our charter schools and at Indian River State College.
Thank you so much for the time.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Next, we're going to have Burke in from Circa 69. What's Circa 69? It's the newest and trendiest restaurant complex in Jensen Beach, and we'll be right back after this break.